Good evening again. You are now listening to The Relentless One. You are up at 3:30 with Kel. So you are now up at 3:30 with Kel, The Relentless One. I'll give you another background. I like to give a little background before I start again. I'm calling it up at 3:30 with Kel because 3:30 is that spiritual time. It's the most spiritual time of the day. Um, People that are spiritual usually will get up early in the morning to pray, to read, to get their thoughts together. And they'll call dark side, the left hand side, they'll get up at 3:30 in the morning because they believe it is the opposite of the good side of the day. They believe that the veil between the spiritual and the physical realm is at its thinnest. And so if you needed something done like spiritual or you needed something supernatural done, you would do it this time, which would put a curse on a person at 3:30 in the morning. It was believed that Jesus was crucified at 3:30 p.m. So the opposite, they believed to do everything at 3:30 a.m. Um, and I just throw this in there while talking about it. The occult, they would always do things backwards as a way of their ritual. For instance, they would um, they would say the Lord's Prayer backwards. They would recite chants backwards, and then that was just part of the ritual part of it. So we're up at 3:30 because the natural side of it is um, it's the idea of a kid not being able to sleep because he was traumatized or he was going through something, so he would wake up in the middle of the night, and sometimes someone would comfort that kid and they would get out of their bed and they would spend time with the kid and they would be like up at night to make sure that kid was okay. So that's why I call it up at 3:30 with Kid. Tonight won't keep you long. Just want to bring a quick thought. My subject could be like a thought tank. A thought tank is like a group of people. I'll say it like this: if you ever saw the movie The Matrix, The Matrix was designed to kind of control people thoughts and could keep society functioning a certain way. And a thought tank is kind of the same thing. It's a group of people that are brought together, usually like some of the smartest people you have. It could be doctors, it could be lawyers, it could be politicians. They come together to solve a problem. And usually, what comes out of a think tank, for example, um, in a democratic system where people have supposedly have freedom of speech, freedom of thought. Um, the trends come out of that. Like a think tank decides on what what to talk about, what's going to be popular, the clothes you're going to wear, the TV shows you're going to watch, the things they're going to teach in school, what's going to be the next trend. That's what a think tank usually comes up with, and it's a way to keep power and control of society. Um, it's a very like touchy situation because a lot of times we think, and myself included, we think that we have freedom of thought, but everything that we come across, everything that we read, everything that we see, everything that we encounter, and even to the people that we meet is being like controlled or put around us. For example, I've watched in my lifetime, I watched the system that I live in here in the United States. It goes from like this system is designed in a way to the think box is designed for division. It can go from racism to sexism to vaccination to whatever they want to make the public um, divided about, this system can do it through media, through ignorance, through fear. It can use anything because that's what the system was designed to do. It was designed to divide. I said last week about the family structure. I remember well, before, as I was growing up, you would see a mother, father, and the children on like the family portraits. They would take pictures together, and then it'd be mother, father, and kids. And slowly I started noticing that as the year went by, they would take the father out of the picture. It would just be the mom and the kids. And now it's to the point where, as I scroll through Facebook and different platforms, you'll see a lot of times most people don't even want the dad on the picture. Um, they'll just take pictures of the mom and the kids. And you got to understand that that was part of the thought box. The thought box, if you had a strong family, they can't exercise as much power over you. So they split the family up, make you dependent, and divide you so that they have more control over you. If you have a strong family, some things that happen would not happen. Welcome if you're just tuning in. You are up at 3:30 with Kel. Um, just giving some ideas and thoughts. Hopefully, I'll say something to help you. Maybe change the way you think. Maybe just give you a different way to look at things. I'm learning myself too. I'm still speaking about thought box and the family. Um, yeah. So the thought box it decides on what you can talk about, what's politically correct, what the school system teaches, what's discussed in the political arena. It decides everything. It decides who is your enemy. It decides who is trending, whose music is hot. It decides who you want to listen to, and it's so strong that once the thought box is in operation, it can work by remote control. Like for instance, when you go to certain places, um, there's certain things you won't feel comfortable saying because you can feel that pressure. You can feel those, like the Matrix said, you can feel that those prison bars around you. You can feel what you should and should not say because of where you're at. And to step outside of the matrix or to step outside of that thought box or that mind control, it's not an easy thing. Like I said, they control everything you come in contact. TV shows, your books, what you read, your schooling, the people you talk to, and even with your books and your TV programs, you have to get to the point that you are able to read between the lines. It's not enough to see something. You gotta now be able to differentiate what's real and what's not real, what's the truth and what's a lie. Because the media right now, and that's Starbucks too, um, that they'll tell you one thing today, and then they'll change their whole narrative tomorrow. They'll tell you something is extremely dangerous today, and tomorrow they won't even talk about it. So it's like they're playing like a mind game, but it's all part of the thought box. It's all thought out and planned to keep you in constant fear. And again, like I said, the thought box in society and the world now, because it's global. It's a global network right now. It's designed to keep you in constant fear, to keep you believing that you need somebody to help you or save you. But you're gonna learn, like, or we're gonna learn that man cannot help you. So we have to find something within us or something um, together, um, because, like I said, the thought box, the idea, and the design of this system is to divide you. Once it separates you, most of the damage can be done. That's the thought box. I was watching and still now with this COVID situation, and people now are always asking, do you have the V or you have the jab? And people are willing to almost to fight you, deny you food, services, they deny um, you interest into certain businesses if you don't have the jab. But again, you gotta understand the system. If it ain't the jab, if it ain't the vaccine, it can be racism, it can be your race, it can be sexism. Now, I watch these platforms, and now this system is so demonic and diabolic. It puts the man versus the woman versus the man. There are people online that the sexes hate each other, uh, and both sides seem like they have legitimate complaints. But the thing about it, it doesn't matter whether the complaints are legitimate or not. It was designed to divide you, and even if you feel like you're right, the system still wins. It's just dividing you. So it's like the battle of the sexes. Uh, Also, I'll throw this one in there too. The opioid crisis. It's like the think tank always wants to keep you stimulated through sex, drugs, certain types of entertainment has to keep you stimulated. Pornography. Um, Pornography itself is a form of was deliberately created by the think tank. Hugh Hefner. It was rumored that he was a CIA agent, and that he put so much money into pornography to destroy the family, so that it would slow down the birth rates and cause men not to get married. So that was the design of pornography. It's a form of the think tank. It want to take you away from a woman or wife or family. That was designed of it. Uh, Planned Parenthood is one of them. Like abortions is one thing, but pornography is another. It's designed so you won't get married. It's designed so your family won't stay together. So it's all kinds of traps and tricks with this system. Uh, Religion. Um, there's a lot you can go into, and again, nothing. I mean, you have to take all the knowledge is tampered with. I'm going to say that right. Everything is tampered with. The television programs, the books, the things we pick up to read or we encounter, they're all tampered with. But again, you got to be able to start being able to read between the lines. You can ask simple questions, like one simple question with every crime. If there is a crime, there's one question you can ask, and it will it will help you put a lot of things in perspective. With every crime, you ask one question. Ask the question, who benefits from this? If this happens, who benefits from it? And usually, if you ask that question, you can figure out who did what and what's the goal. Um, with the current state, I want to say, but I know, yeah, my thing is not that big. It won't get flagged. But even with like the pandemic, just ask yourself who benefits from it. Usually, when you ask those questions, who benefits from it, that's your suspect. That's the person who has probable cause. They're usually the person that's guilty. Whoever gains them has the most to gain from it. That's usually the person you have to look at. But we didn't stop and we a lot of people didn't stop and think that through. And again, same thing with the think box. When you find like division coming, like the battle of the sexes, racism, whatever, ask yourself who benefits from it. Who is like prospering from all the division? That's the question you got to ask yourself. That's what the think tank is designed to do. It looks for problems and it comes up with a solution. And sometimes it gives you problems so they can give you the solution that they want you to have. There's a book, I won't say the name of it, but it's at the end of the book. It says that there'll be a mark for you to buy, sell. If you don't take the mark, you won't buy and sell. Well, then next thing you know, you got all these different problems coming up. Um, you'll have terrorism. You'll have illegal immigrants. You'll have radical ideas. So, in order to combat that, we need a universal ID. We need something that we can identify everybody. We need to know their vaccination status too, just in case we have another pandemic. So we're gonna give everybody a card. But the only thing with a card is you can counterfeit them. I mean, I can make a fake card, or I can steal somebody else's card. So we got to come up with a way that uh, we can identify everybody, and nobody get their cards stolen, and people won't lose them. So we can put them in your phone, but you can lose your phone. Your phone can be stolen also. So then there'll be another solution. But you see, you get where I'm going with that if you follow my train of thought. Um, Usually, the person offering solutions sometimes they're the person that caused the problem because they benefit from it. A think tank. Some of our people in in power, it's good to find out what they believe in because a lot of people you're gonna find out, or you can find out. This is information age. You can find out that a lot of them are into eugenics. They believe in population control. They believe in getting rid of poor people. They feel like if you by 2030, if you can't afford to live or contribute in certain ways to the planet, they don't feel like you should be here. I remember, man, when I was younger, I heard this lady. It was I don't know if I was in Texas or where I was, but I heard her telling another lady a story. She was an older lady, and she asked her, "Are you ready for the culling?" The CULLING, the culling. And the lady said, "The culling, what is that?" She said, The culling is the thinning of the herd. It's the getting rid of the useless eaters. It's getting rid of people who are not contributing to Earth, or they don't bring any good to society. We got to get rid of them." So she said this back in like the early '90s, if I'm not mistaken. And but it was like a secret. Some people knew about it, but it was people that had more affluent people that had money. They knew about it. And I said that to say this: you gotta now, like I said, you gotta be able to read between the lines. You cannot take everything black and white. When they're showing you something on TV, you gotta start asking the question: Why are they showing me this? What are they saying? Like I would tell friends of mine to listen to me. Nobody spends millions of dollars to entertain you. Like the movies, every movie, if you really dig, they're saying something. Um, they're not spending millions of dollars to entertain you. They're not spending millions of dollars to fly to the moon and all this different stuff. If they're going there, they're not doing all that to. There's a purpose for it. There's a purpose for it. And it's usually not what they're telling you because in order for a person to be in power or keep power, they usually or they have to know more than you do. And if they let you know everything, if they're honest, then they lose power over you. So they control what you hear, see, and touch. They have to have that think tank because they control the information. That's what gives them power over you or power over us. But you still got to be able to connect the dots and read between the lines so that you're not deceived or you're not controlled or lied to. Um, I could say so much. But my whole life, if you are conscious, you can notice the think tank in the school, and you learn stuff that has nothing to do with life. Like I used to hear some like people with education background propose learning taxes, learning how to prepare a budget and stuff like that. Things that you use in life for in real life they were trying to get in school, but the school didn't want to do it. They wanted to teach them everything else, things that you didn't learn in life. I mean, that you don't use in life, um, like advanced courses like calculus and stuff like that. They were trying to, have like they call it a real life course, but it didn't make it because I'm convinced they're not trying to produce capable, intelligent people. They're trying to produce people that can be controlled. Like here in the U.S., most of our doctors now are foreign people that come from other countries, and the U.S. has the money to produce doctors here, but they rather dumb down their people because they're easy to control. And they started this back in the 70s or 70s, late 60s, that they started using the word conspiracy to say if a person can think a little bit, he's a conspiracist. He's crazy, whatever. They use that word to discredit you for whatever you say, even if you're telling the truth. Like I can say the sky is blue, and once they say, "Man, this dude is conspiracy theory," even though the sky is blue, nobody will listen to me because that word. Once you use that word, it's like it got magic to it. It's like it has control over people's minds. It's like witchcraft. Like that word is used to discredit a lot of people. Um, they'll they'll call the people that don't want to take the COVID, the jab. They'll say that you're an anti-vaxxer. And when they say anti-vaxxer, most people start thinking, oh, they're against vaccines, whatever else, but they don't want to go into detail about this vaccine. They don't want to tell you that this is not a regular vaccine. This is not an inoculated virus like the flu. This is like mRNA technology, and it alters like your messenger RNA. Doesn't change the DNA, but it alters the message that your DNA sends to your body. So it's a little bit different. And if you go on the website to the CDC or to the World Health Organization, they don't even call it a vaccine; they call it technology. So you gotta peep game. You gotta list. You gotta read between the lines. If you want to take it, you know, I can't tell you what to do, but at the same time, um, make an intelligent decision. Don't just let nobody pressure you, and you should know something's wrong with it because everywhere you go and you got celebrities telling you can't come in here and eat, you can't do this, you can't do that over a disease that virus that they said only kills not that has a 99.9% survival rate. So that lets you know something's up. But I'm gonna leave that alone. Um, that think tank. Back to the think tank. That think tank likes to control every area of your life, and it's really effective if you don't notice it. Like it'll make you think the thoughts that you're thinking and doing them, when really they're dictating them to you. They're deciding what music is good. I remember, man, that used to have different radio stations would play different type of music all day, but now they'll play the same song 15 times a day, and they'll play it enough until it gets into your mind. I read this book years ago called "The Sound of Music," and I don't even remember the author, but he said that if you can play music from any culture, and he can tell you about that culture, he doesn't have to be there. He can tell you anything about that culture if you let him hear the music. And another thing people don't understand about music is when you play music, music is not just music. Music is it affects your subconscious to the fact that if I play music and talk to you, the music actually like it brings down your guard so that my words can go straight to your subconscious and I can tell you whatever I want you to do. That's why when you go in certain shopping centers, they play certain types of music, and that music is designed to make you spend money. So and they'll use certain music to invoke things. So it's a very um, you can get into a lot of things about that. But back to the think tank, it's designed to make you think you're thinking these thoughts that you want to do this. I remember, man, growing up. Um, We always said if I can go to college, everything will be okay. But then some people go to college and then they don't even get to work and do the job that they went to college for. But they just believed if they could go to college, they were okay, and they could graduate, it was okay. And then when they did it, it wasn't. I'm not saying don't go. You should go. You should always better yourself. But the think tank made you think that was your answer for everything. Then some people feel like if I could if I could vote, if I could do this or do that, everything will be okay. But again, the think tank is there, making you feel like these are your thoughts. When in actuality, these are the ideas of somebody that they're giving you to think, and you feel like if you do this, you're going to be a productive citizen, and that's not always true. Um, I just noticed also too with our society in particular. I live in the U.S. Um, they have successfully dumbed us down. Um, think about it like this, right? If you have a community that, okay, we'll say it like this, like certain communities, they have pretty good athletes. Like in South, I was born in Southeast Georgia, right? And in Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, those states are known for football. They have like really good football players. It's like the mecca of football, South Georgia. Welcome everybody that came in and listened to me. Just bear with me a second. They're the mecca of football, and they can produce some good athletes in that part of the country, right? Um, so a lot of those states they take pride in producing good football players. All right, let's go a step further. Some countries produce doctors, right? They produce a lot of doctors. So a lot of those countries take pride in saying we get a lot of doctors from our country. You can do that with anything. You can think of anything. You can say soccer players. You can say scientists. You can say whatever you want to say. If a community produces a lot of certain professions or athletes or whatever, they take pride in that. But I want you to stop and think about that. If you got a community that produces athletes, scholars, whatever, that's a good thing. They take pride in that. But let's say you got a community that produces murderers, liars, serial killers, drug users, drug addicts, drug dealers, then you should ask the same question. What is this community doing or what is this place doing to produce this type of people? What's going on there? You know? Um, or if your community, country, or whatever, it has the largest prison population. What's going on there? You know? So not only with the good things like the doctors and the positive people, you got to ask the question and ask why are so many negative people coming from this area. You got to ask that question, what's going on there, and that will get you to the bottom of a lot of those things too. And I say that to say the thinking now, the music, the TV shows have um, it it lets us know like they'll say we're on a certain vibrational scale, like we're vibrating like animals, like our existence is not higher level thinking, it's lower level thinking, and in the end we're going to pay for it. But I learned one thing through this pandemic that nothing really surprises me anymore. Um, but I think it's funny how this pandemic disappeared. All of us, I ain't gonna say disappeared. It is not getting as much coverage now that more information is coming out, and now there's a war. Um, so I can't tell you what again. I can't tell you what to think. I just wanted to bring something before you, just to give you a thought, to let you know that you're up against the system, um, and the system is designed to divide you. I'm convinced of that. I watched my family. I was born into a two parent home. By the time I was four, it was a single parent home, and from that point on, things. Even though I did okay in life, I'm doing okay. Okay, I'm making it by. When I say okay, I say okay. I graduated from college. I did. I don't. I mean, that's not a good thing, but anyway, I'm functioning. I'll say that. um, I'm losing my train of thought about that. But I said that to say this: when my parents split, as a child, you start. I noticed this. I internalized a lot of things because when my parents split, my dad beat my mom right there in front of me. I was like 4 years old, and I was frozen in the corner. I could not move. And then he left, and I didn't see him again for years. My mom remarried a couple times, and but pretty much she was a single mom, and I always had like sometimes felt like I was supposed to protect her, and by feeling like I was supposed to protect her, as I got older in my teenage years, I was very angry. I contemplated murder. I contemplated suicide a couple times, and it's a lot for a child to bear. Did you know that um, in a single parent home, your children are 7 times more likely to become drug users, 7 times more likely to commit suicide, 7 times more likely to become addicts, some kind of drug addict or addicted to some kind of substance. And I'm not knocking single parent homes, but it was not meant to be that way. Do parent do parents die? A parent may die or something, or a situation may happen. But like now, it's just like it's if you see a mother and a father in the same home that stayed married, it's like a phenomenon now. It's like a unicorn. You don't see that often. Like the way of thinking has changed about family. Like they say, we don't have the traditional family anymore. Well, why not? Because it was changed, and it was changed on purpose. Um, the man and the woman need each other. We need each other. Like I was saying earlier, the think tank now they got the battle of the sexes where the man says that the woman ain't important, and the woman say the man ain't important. She don't need no man, and one and they're fighting each other. Some of them have kids together, but that's it. They can't talk together. They can't they can't live together. They can't work together, and that's a bad thing, man. Society's collapsing when you get to this point. You know, it's like society's collapsing. I guess I'm old fashioned. I'm from Georgia. I guess maybe you say I'm conservative. I look at this. I look at the different apps, man. Like I was watching this. I won't say the name of it because I'm on a different app right now. The mindset of some people right now is not good. This society has not just this society; it's worldwide. The mindset of a lot of people is animalistic, or to the point where it's 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 just your body part. One of my classmates passed the other day, and the thing I remember about her the most, she was determined to get those to get butt implants or like a butt lift. She was getting her body adjusted, like plastic surgery, like to her hips and butt and stuff like that. And so she got this mindset: you got to look a certain way, whether it's real or not, whether it's dangerous. So it's like um, it's just the people are seeing people as physical, just something physical, and not as a human being anymore. Like I said, it's very animalistic now, and all of the top songs now is murder. It's what it is. It's murder. Like, and I'm disappointed in some of the rappers, musicians, and stuff like that. I'm disappointed in them, but I understand they're not the real problem. Like they are just leaves on the tree. They're leaves and branches on the tree. The real problem are the people that are distributing, that are the record companies, the politicians, the people that are behind the scenes that push this type of stuff. And that's the real problem. They control what can be said and what not be said. So we got some challenging days coming up ahead of us. So I'm gonna leave you with that thought. I didn't want to be here too long. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about a think tank. It's almost like the movie The Matrix. It's just like it's somebody like I'll call it a hidden hand. The people that you cannot see that decide how things are gonna go. They're gonna decide what goes into the neighborhood, what your preacher talks about on Sunday morning, because there are a lot of preachers and churches that are involved in this too. They get something in the United States called a 501c3, where the government pays them to talk about certain things and pays them not to talk about certain things. And I give you a big example. Since like the 80s, 90s, like Planned Parenthood, they don't really speak about like abortions no more because that's one of the things they can't talk about. They can't talk about same-sex marriages. They can't talk about anything that the government does not want them to talk about. But yet they're making you think that they're coming straight out of the Bible. But that's a think tank. They've been told what they can and cannot talk about, and they also have, especially since the jab came out, they also have FEMA pastors. They have pastors and preachers and imams and rabbis and anything, gurus, anything you want to think of, the federal government has on payroll to help convince the people to do certain things. Like in New York, I watched when the governor wanted certain people to take it, they would say they would go get the ministers and pastors to talk to the people. But they actually pay them. They give them money. They fund them. They don't make them pay taxes and whatever, so that they can help push an agenda. So be wise. Understand you are in a think tank. A lot of things that come your way are put there to control the way you think. And say they even got a law now that if let's say if I start saying something and somebody hears me talk and that person decides he's gonna go over here and kill somebody, they don't really necessarily want him as much. They're gonna they can come back to me and say I I was spreading hate or something. So and people don't see the danger in that. It's not necessarily the person that committed the crime. They want to control the way you think. So if I can't control if I can control the way you think, I don't have to worry about what you do. That was what Woodrow Wilson said that. He said if you can control what a man thinks, you never concern yourself with that man. Um, you see in all the pictures of the future, they always have like this peaceful world, like this utopia where everybody gets along. There's no more fighting, there's no more war, there's no more nothing. But the way they're gonna, well, the way they plan on doing that is they're gonna get rid of anybody that don't think like they do, that don't agree with the agenda. You gotta go, and that's how they do it. That's the plan for the future. So you still gotta be able to, like I said, read between the lines. Ask that simple question: who does this benefit by listening to certain narratives? I watch the news sometimes. I'm not watching it because I believe what they say. I watch it because I'm dissecting what they say. Because even when they lie to you, it's some truth there. You know, you just got to be able to pull it out. Ask that question: who is this benefiting? And try and think of the end goal if it's benefit this person. So all right. I won't keep you. That's it. You were up at 3:30 with Kel. I thank you for tuning in. If you listen, I hope you got something out of it. Tune in. I will be back. Today is Friday. I'll be back next Friday. We'll be up again at 3:30 with Kel. And I hope you have a blessed week. Stay strong and please read between the lines. Don't let anybody just lie to you. All right. Thank you for tuning in. I'll let you go now. I don't know why it's not playing.